Hello, my name is Brett Spence, and today we'll be talking about the Sook Ching massacre. Alright, let's begin. After the surrender of Singapore, the Japanese launched a bloody campaign against Singapore's Chinese population due to them sending money to help China during the Second Sino-Japanese War. The Japanese set up screening centers around Singapore and ordered all the Chinese men between 18 to 50 years old. They waited in long lines where they would be met by Japanese interrogators who questioned them like, "What do you work as? Do you work for the British? What is your dialect group? Do you speak English?" The person being questioned, knowing their answers would mean life and death. While being questioned, soldiers guarded an informant who wore a gunnery sack around their head, who whispered and nodded to the interrogators. Those who failed their screenings were set aside for execution. Those who passed their screenings were given a stamped piece of paper and allowed to leave. If the paper ran out, the stamps were put on their bodies or their clothes, with them being careful not to wash the stamps off. But the stamps did not always protect the holder. Sometimes the sentries would stop people leaving, removing their stamps and putting them with those sent to be executed. Those who were sent to be executed were put onto lorries to beaches or remote plantations on mostly the east side of the island, where the Japanese made their victims dig a large pit where they were forced in and were shot. Luckily, some people managed to escape, telling people what had happened, and after the war, reported the massacre. It's estimated that 50,000 to 70,000 men were killed on the beaches of Pungong, Changi, Tarawan, and Katong, and the plantations of Siglap and Bedok. The massacre became known as Sook Ching massacre. After the massacre, the Japanese army demanded $50 million from the remaining Chinese population. The Chinese sold anything valuable, like their jewelry, land, and even their houses. But despite their best efforts, they were only managed to raise $28 million straight dollars and had to get the rest from a Japanese bank. In a ceremony at the Fulton building, where the Chinese gave the cash to Tomoyuki Yamashita, where he lectured them on being good citizens and hoped that they had learned their lesson, then gave the Chinese a receipt and called the ransom a gift. In January 1946, the Singapore war crime trials had begun, where 130 trials took place, where many were found guilty and sent to long prison sentences, with 135 of them being hanged. For the 7 Japanese officers that were found guilty for their role in the Sook Ching massacre, Lieutenant General Saburo Kamiura and Lieutenant Colonel Masayuki Oroshi were hanged, and the rest were sentenced to life in prison, but only served 5 years of their sentence. That brings us to the end of the video. If you liked this video, like and subscribe. See you next time.